Welcome to Chapter 4 in QuickBooks, where I'm going to discuss the period end procedures and making general journal entries. So to begin with, I'm on page 4-2, and we're talking about QuickBooks versus manual accounting. As we can tell so far, using QuickBooks definitely has advantages over manual accounting. For this chapter, though, we're going to be talking about making adjusting entries and then closing out our books for the month and then running our financial statement reports. QuickBooks, just a reminder, does not follow the format of using the special journals. Just a reminder that instead those are actually recorded in the different windows depending on what activity you're doing. So whether it's vendor activities or customer activities or payroll activities, etc. So to start with, our first learning objective is to talk about the chart of accounts. And going into the chart of accounts, let's take a look and see what we have here. You can see that cash is listed first, and our account numbers here are listed in chronological order. And very important, over here under the type is where you can see, for example, the cash account is considered a bank or an asset account. We've got accounts receivable. Then we have some other current assets, fixed assets, accounts payable, equity accounts, income accounts, cost of goods sold, expenses. Also, what's really nice is that it does show the balance for all. Notice that these are all balance sheet accounts. And if you go in, for example, into accounts receivable, if you double click on that, it will actually take you right into the register just for accounts receivable. So I'm going to go back to my chart of accounts, and just to kind of show you here, for example, how the chart of accounts is set up. Here's my furniture account, and then underneath the furniture account I have the actual cost of the furniture, and then you can see account 1750 is for the accumulated depreciation. So if I take the cost of the furniture minus the accumulated depreciation, that then gives me the net cost of the asset. To go into further detail, if I click on this, and I go in and I do edit account, you'll see in here that the cost of the furniture is set up as a sub-account of, in this case, 1700. If I decided I didn't want that to be a sub-account anymore, I would just uncheck the box and then click Save and Close. And then you can see now that the furniture, the cost of the furniture, is no longer a sub-account of furniture. If I wanted to go back in and change that, I can right-click and go to Edit, or I can go down here to the bottom and click Edit. You can do it either way. And then again, choose sub-account, and then in this case of furniture, okay? And then do Save and Close. Next, I'm going to show you how to make a new account in our chart of accounts. And you simply do that by going down to Account and then doing New. So let's say, for example, I wanted to make a new expense account. I'm going to hit Continue. Notice that I can make an income account or a bank or a loan or a credit card, or there's even other account types that are listed. It's really important when you set up your accounts that you pick the correct category. Otherwise, your statements may look odd. So I'm going to do expense, click on Continue. And in this case, I'm just going to make a miscellaneous account. Okay, make a miscellaneous account. I'm not going to make it a sub-account of something else. I can put a description. In this case, I can give it a number. I could see that the expense account started with 6,000, so I'm just going to put in 6999 and then do Save and Close. Now I can see miscellaneous showing up here at the bottom. Okay, what if I decide, you know what, I don't want to have a miscellaneous expense account? I then just simply can right-click on it, or again, click down here, and then do Delete Account. And click OK. The next learning objective in our textbook, I'm on page 4-13, is making general journal entries. And we're going to go through and we're going to make some adjustments that we need to make. And if you actually look on page 4-16, you'll see that we're making adjustments for insurance expense, depreciation, supplies, interest expense. So what we're going to do is, to do a journal entry in QuickBooks, you're going to go up and you're going to go to Company, and then you're going to go down to Make General Journal Entries. You're going to click on the screen, and you're going to go in and pick your date, put in the entry number. Now, by default here, you can see that I've already done some adjustments. It says AJE7, which means adjusting journal entry number 7. Let's just pretend that I'm going to give it a new number here. And you want to follow what the book tells you as far as what to put in for the adjustment number. And I'm on page 4-15. The very first entry that we're making is going to be for our advertising expense. So it's basically telling me that I'm going to, for the adjustment for that, I'm going to choose account 4050, excuse me, 6050, sorry about that. And I'm going to do that as my debit, and then my credit is going to be 1410, okay? And in here, notice that I'm going to put in the debit, put in the credit. Look what happens if I don't put in the credit and try to do save and new. It says it's not in balance. QuickBooks will not ever let you enter in transactions that are not in balance. So it's a nice feature. So $100 for 6050 advertising expense, and then a credit to prepaid advertising for $100. And then obviously you want to make sure that your date is correct. It's always good to put in a memo. Here's 1 month of advertising. Always great to put in a memo so that you remember why you did the entry. And then just do, if it's the only entry you're doing, you save and close. If you're doing multiple entries, you do save and new. And that's how easy it is to do an adjusting entry. Also make sure that you check the box. So there's a box here that says adjusting entry. Make sure that that box is checked. The next section is going to be getting into take a look at our period end accounting reports and statements. The first report that I'm going to bring up is the journal, but I'm actually going to filter it this time. I'm actually following along on pages 418 and 419. And what we're going to do is we're going to run the journal just like we always have before in previous chapters. But this time, when I run the journal, I'm just going to choose all dates here. This time when I run the journal, though, I want to actually customize it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to only show just the journal entries. So I'm going to scroll down here until I find the journal. Let's see. So I'm scrolling down, and I'm going to choose transaction type. And then under transaction type is where I want to choose the journal. I'm going to click on OK. And then notice that it's only showing me just my journal entries. And that's a really nice feature that you can use when you're viewing your check figures and things like that for just your journal entries. Our next report is going to be the adjusted trial balance report. And the adjusted trial balance report is actually the same as the trial balance that you run. It's just because of timing that obviously after you do adjustments, the numbers change. So what we're going to do is we're just going to run the trial balance just like we have before. But this time, I'm going to do all dates here. My numbers are probably off, but that's okay. This time, though, I'm going to go in and I'm going to customize the report. And instead of trial balance, I'm going to put in adjusted because this is after I've done the adjustments, and then click OK. So our next report, I'm on page 4-21, is going to be for our worksheet. Because our textbook is using the accountant edition of QuickBooks, instead of displaying the trial balance and modifying that and then displaying the name, we actually can print out the worksheet. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to reports, we're going to go to accountant and taxes, and then we're going to go down and do our adjusted trial balance. Now, what's different with this is this actually shows the unadjusted, the adjustments, and the adjusted balance. And I'm going to choose all dates here so that we can see some numbers. And what's really nice with this is you can see what your total adjustments were. You can see what your then adjusted balance is. And you can use Quick Zoom if you need to go back into any of these adjustments that you had made. And you can view them at any time. So let's get into the last part of the chapter, which is the financial statements. The first statement that we're going to bring up is the profit and loss. So again, I'm going to go to reports. I'm going to go down to company and financial. I'm going to choose profit and loss. And I'm just going to choose the detail. you can see that there's different profit and loss that you can choose. The standard is the usual one that we choose. Click standard. I'm going to choose all my dates, or if there was a range of dates, you would put that in. And then you can see what your total is. I'm now going to run the balance sheet. So that, again, that's under company and financial. I'm going to go down to standard, balance sheet standard, bring that up. And here you can see my assets, my liabilities, and my equity at the end here. And again, you can change your dates as needed, but very simple to run. Just a heads up, you can go into the report center, which I personally don't use, but you may be tested on the QuickBooks certification exam. In the report center, they give you a nice view option for your reports. And as you go in, oops. So here we have our report center, and you can see a visual picture of what each report looks like. You can then put in dates, you can pick the date range, you can make it a favorite if need be, but it is a nice way to view the report options as well. Next, I'm on page 4-27, and we're going to talk about the registers in QuickBooks, which is an alternative method for reviewing your daily activity. Again, registers are available for any balance sheet account, okay, not available for income or expense accounts. So, for example, if I wanted to go in, I'm going to actually bring up the chart of accounts. I'm going to do Control A, shortcut key, and I'm going to bring up my cash register. I'm going to just double click on cash, and that brings up all of my activity that I have here. A really nice feature of the registers is that you can use the quick report option. So for example, if you wanted to look at activity with this Lumiere lighting company here, I could click on them and then run a quick report. And it's going to show me any activity in regards to this lighting company. So that's it for chapter 4. Again, keep going. Please read your textbook carefully and attach your reports as needed in PDF, and also check your check figures that are provided.